This program is brought to you by Pussy Magnets.
Put a midge on your friends with a pussy magnet.
Welcome, welcome, my lovely lumps. Or maybe let's go with lovely labs. That's pretty on brand. Anyway, I'm so thrilled to have you here in the Labia Lounge. We're going to be yarning about all things sexuality, intimacy, womanhood, relating, holistic health, and everything in between. We're going to have vag loads of real chats with real people about real shit. So buckle up because you're about to receive the sex ed that you never had and hopefully have a bit of a chuckle while you're at it. Before we get stuck in, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. It's a massive privilege to be living and creating dope podcast content in Naarm, and I just want to pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Now, if you're ready, let's flap and do this.
Don't panic, you're not broken. Your sex education was a piece of shit. Get your flaps out and pull up a couch. It's the Labia Lounge.
Hey gang, just before we jump into this episode, I wanted to offer you an opportunity to access my new mini course for free before I start charging for it in future. It's for people with vulvas and it's quick to complete. It's all about demystifying the female body and pleasure anatomy and getting some basic fundamentals to understand your body better. It's called Pussy Pleasure Secrets, Your Roadmap to Bedroom Bliss. You can grab it on the freebies page of my website or in the show notes. It's a great little free resource to kind of dip your toe in or act as a bit of a taster for my work. So if you've ever been curious about this sort of thing and you just don't know where to start, or you want a really quick, easy, accessible, non-threatening way to get the ball rolling and start working on this stuff, this is a great place to start. Hey legends. So for those of you that don't know, this is part 4 of a mini series that I've been doing with my friend Dan. If you haven't already listened to the other episodes, just find the sort of shorter episodes, not much, but definitely shorter than my usual episode, that have Dan in the title or the description. I'm sort of interspersing them between regular episodes and releasing them as bonus content. And it's sort of a flowing kind of informal conversation with lots of stories, lots of discussion, lots of sex positivity and laughter, and also vulnerability. And I've sort of just broken it up so that it's a little bit more bite-sized because I have about 4 hours of this conversation that I had with Dan. We're going to be doing more in the future. He's got so many stories locked and loaded. So I think you'll really enjoy his flavour. It's very Labia Lounge coded. And yeah, I'll let you get stuck in. And there'll be more to come if you're into this style of episode and if you're into listening to Dan talk about his very colourful sexual experiences.
But you've just reminded me of another one of my stories by mentioning bananas, and this is a crazy masturbation story. This is probably one of my craziest pieces of work. But I remember really new to wanking, and probably again on Tumblr or some deviant site like Reddit or something, I saw a hack about taking a banana out, and if you microwaved a banana peel and then jerked off with it, that it felt like a pussy, or like it felt like...
I mean, that's a good shout.
Right? So I was like, that checks out. Like, that sounds correct. I don't know if they, like, gave...
Cooked banana is so slammy.
Yeah, I never thought about it. I don't think they gave, like, the right instructions of, like, how long to microwave it for. Yeah. So I microwaved it for a long time, touched it on, like, the outside of the peel, like the hard yellow kind of side, and was fine, and decided to, like, put it on my dick and immediately burnt my dick. It was so hot.
Oh, hot banana is like hot tomato.
It was
so
boiling.
Yeah.
And so I quickly threw it off and did not continue with that. But it was just a little quick thing that you reminded me of when you said banana. I tried to emulate the wet with a microwaved with a microwaved banana.
I don't know if I've ever heard a vag be called the wet wet.
The wet wet, yeah.
I love that. It's so funny.
Have you seen like the iconic video, the grapefruit technique?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, Freya, I'm so excited for you to watch this.
Oh my God.
This is like one of like the internet's like OG like viral videos before like anything was a thing. It is a real life like earnest video of this woman talking about how you can like spice up your sex life and do something
God.
that's going to blow your man's brain. And it's called the grapefruit technique, this video, and it's just like kind of cutting the edges off of a grapefruit and then kind of carving out a cylindrical hole to kind of use as like a pocket pussy on your man.
Citrus though.
Citrus.
Sour, acidic, fucking,
Yeah.
okay.
And the idea is that you put it on first and then you suck him off at the same time and you get like all of the juices of a grapefruit as well. And it's meant to be enjoyable for the person
That sounds fun.
doing the job as well.
Sticky and tart.
So not only is the idea just out of this world, but I'm not going to do it any justice. You have to watch the video. She then does a demonstration of like what the grapefruit technique would be.
On what?
I think just like on the air. Like, and she then continues to go do the most comical blowjob sounds you will ever hear. And it's got like the wetness of like the
gotta be a
grapefruit.
joke.
It's literally like and it feels so earnest, and it's like this really long video about like how to please your man. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna send it to you after this.
Get fucked.
Yes.
That's outrageous.
This was like the like early days of YouTube. Like this was like one of like the first memes or like viral videos.
What
I
other
ever
videos
saw.
did she have? Like, was this like,
I don't know if I wanted to take her advice, so I don't know if I continued to look at what was on her account.
what if
or
there
if
was
it-
other funny shit though?
I don't even know if it was like her that posted. Like it might have been like a repost of something. Like this is definitely something I would guess that was like sold in like a bootleg like DVD that someone bought from like a car
She
park.
didn't
Like
upload it to
I doubt
YouTube.
it. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see that. That reminds me of a story from my friend who I was telling you about earlier, who I have an episode where he sucked his first dick.
Yes.
There's another episode that we did called Battle of the Exes, because he's an ex-partner of mine, and it was like a full TMI war where like we were one-upping each other with TMI stories, and he is like a depraved person. You would love him. And he had a whole story about like fucking like a whole roast pumpkin that he'd like carved out a hole in, and like how it had some weight to it and he could kind of have it on the bed and like fuck, like anyway, whole thing. You should listen to. Everyone should listen to that episode.
Shout out, Labia Lounge. Listen,
it's got-
episode. We'll insert the number in post. I have another story on this, which is again, it's kind of sad but great ending.
Okay.
Which is my partner's story. I don't think he'll mind me sharing. Which he lived in another country for a while and fell into like a not very healthy relationship with like a straight man that clearly wanted to like experience his like, you know, gay, you know, kind of fantasies with Dan, and then like not you know, treat him like a human. And that would involve really crazy scenarios where like the power imbalance was, you know, nuts, and he would have like my partner like lay under the bed while he would like bring straight like women home and like fuck them and then be like, you know, like that's how I actually want to do it and stuff. And he eventually like left this shitty scenario and like wanted to like fuck the guy over, and the only thing that he could think of was like having like a friend who the guy was interested in and was like texting at the same time fucking with him, and he got his friend to ask him to send a video of him like it was either a watermelon or it might have been a pumpkin as well. And he just left the relationship with this like great video of this like asshole ex of him like furiously fucking this piece of fruit, which at the time he just thought was like the funniest thing ever. Like this like super macho guy that's like, I'm gonna fuck with you sexually, and then was like, let me like try and impress a girl by fucking a piece of fruit, because what woman's going to get off on that? I want to say it was a pumpkin. It might have been like a watermelon or something, but yeah. Another fucking pumpkin story.
Dude, there are a lot of like fruit and vegetable sex stories, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people of like, especially a lot of like gay guys of talking about like experiencing anal for the first time by like getting like a carrot or something out of their like family fridge.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Just to practice on.
Yeah.
It's kind of adjacent, it's food related, but many years ago, like I trained doing yoni mapping therapy with a woman, and she used to share this story, so I'm sure she wouldn't mind, it's all anonymous, but she remembers when she was like a teenager and she had like this boyfriend, and they like went for like a drive and like parked up at like, you know, make out point, and they were fooling around in the car, and they had some like chocolate bars, and like she like, I don't know whose idea it was, but they put a like a crunchy in her vagina.
Oh my God.
But then immediately the chocolate started melting, and then it was like the honeycomb left, which is kind of like, you know,
Scratchy.
yeah,
Porous.
Yeah, and like the sugar, obviously, like instant fucking thrush. Like
I didn't even think
you don't
of
want to be
that.
fucking feeding sugar to your vaginal microbiome.
Not the candida.
God no. Yeah, and so yeah, like, and she said like she was pulling little bits of like honeycomb and like sugary stuff out of her vag for like a couple of days.
Oh my God. Again, just association. Another like
You're a fucking gold mine.
another playground like myth. A story. I think this was like high school time now that I heard this story, which was again just boys being disgusting. Was this story about this urban legend of like a couple that wanted to like spice up their sex life, and the guy had the idea of putting Skittles into his girlfriend's vagina and just like eating them out and like, I don't know, crunching on it afterwards. And that's the story goes, like he counted out like putting 5 Skittles in and getting 6 back out and spitting 1 out and it being a genital wart.
Come on.
Which is obviously not real, but this was like a big thing that like spread throughout my high school. Like I think the story was like it happened to one of the boys.
Oh my God.
But this
Because the genital wart can just fall off.
pop out when you're sucking out the Skittles out. Just that idea of like 1 Skittle, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hang on a second. What's this? Ew! Oh my God, that's such a fucking teenage
So ridiculous.
like story. That's just that's so funny.
I-
It would be a cool thing to like do a survey of like everyone that went to different schools and lived in different times and be like, what are your urban myths like
Cross-reference.
this? Like,
Yes.
I just want to hear all the different ones because I haven't heard of either of those.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think like what there was like at my school like that.
In the meantime, I do have a funny
You got another?
food story.
Oh, yeah, go on.
So, like, you know, obviously, like, using ice in oral is, like, a pretty, you know, well-known thing. I remember, like, my current partner and I, like, fresh into our relationship, like, we had tried it, like, once or twice and whatever, and it was, like, new and he liked it. And we had the idea of doing it again, but we didn't have any ice in the house. But we had just picked up Boost Juiced smoothies, and the Boost Juice was like really, really cold. And he had the brilliant idea of like, let me put some Boost Juice, I think it was a passion mango, in my mouth, and then he would give me a blowjob.
Yeah.
And he did it, and the sensation still worked. Like, it was cold, it was wet, it was like kind of sloshing around in there.
Yeah.
I was kind of like loving it. It was great until he like clearly just like tried to deep throat me too hard and threw up half of his Boost Juice all over me. And it was the second time anyone has ever like thrown up like while doing something. And like the first time it was fine, whatever, it happened. This one, because it was like passion mango, there were little like bits of like black passion fruit seeds everywhere. It was really nasty. But it felt good, so I can confirm it's not just ice. It is cold drinks as well. Just do it responsibly.
Fuck. There'd be so many good stories out there like this. I've heard so many. I forget. It's like I forget. I hear so many great stories that I forget them. Let me pull my legs like this. He likes to get on a lap.
Cute.
Here you go.
Are you pro food in the bedroom?
Sexually or
Yeah.
just like eating in bed? I love eating in
I
bed.
love eating in bed.
I feel like I'm like, do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not super, I haven't dabbled too much with it. It's like, it's a novelty that's like fun every now and then. It's like,
Yeah.
let's eat cake off each other's bodies.
Yes.
But like, it's not like that's particularly horny for me. It's more
Yeah.
just like, it's a funny aesthetic and like act to do once as a novelty and
It's
a bit
so
of fun.
comical. I love it from
Yeah.
like the laughing and play side of
Yeah,
things.
exactly. It's not like I have a, I don't know what the name of it is, but there's a kink where like it is very much like, they just stand in a bathtub or on a tarp and just like smash like sponge cake all over
Yes.
themselves or jelly or like
Yeah.
whatever. And like licking something off like honey or chocolate off someone's dick, like cool. But actually it's just a distraction and I want to enjoy eating and I want to enjoy sex and they don't really cross over in any meaningful way for me.
I don't want it to touch on my plate. Yeah. And chocolate is like the number one thing that people go to. Now, I'm so sorry for me as a gay man.
Yeah, it just looks like poo.
It's not a visual that I ever want to see.
Yeah.
I remember like having the idea of like getting some Nutella out and then just looking at it being like, don't want this near either of us.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, and also like with the vagina, you got to be really careful about anything sugary. Like I don't like different shit going near my vag.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. There's one like it wasn't like an urban myth that like probably transcended generations at the school or anything like that. But I remember in my year level there was like a little rumor that went around that like one of the guys had like gone to have sex with one of the girls but didn't have a condom and so like used his like pair of satin boxes as a condom and still penetrated her. But I'm like, that wouldn't be possible.
Oh,
I don't think
kids are stupid, and when you're really like horny, I don't know.
How would satin boxes even go into a vagina?
Oh, painfully.
Yeah.
With a lot of resistance.
Surely they didn't do that. I think it was.
I hope not.
I think it was a rumor. There's so much shit like that. It's like, hang on a second. Once you actually understand how genitals work,
Yeah.
which I didn't at the time of hearing that, it's like, wait, that's not a thing.
I would very similar. I would love to know what has been used as a condom. I'm sure people have gotten creative with it.
Yeah, definitely. Did you
100%.
see? I saw a post today where there's like this 200-year-old condom in a museum now with like erotic art drawn on it, and it looks like this sort of papery sheath. I didn't click into it, so I don't know if it's like I don't know anything else, even if it's real. It could have been an AI image.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why would you make a condom and then do like a fine art drawing of an erotic scene on it, and then
How meta.
and then how is it still in existence 200 years later? Maybe it was never used.
I see it kind of as like, do you know like the Ed Hardy like fake tattoo sleeves? I kind of love the idea of like printed art on a condom.
Dude, why isn't that
Why is
more
it-
of a thing? Well,
Wait,
because depending
cancel
on,
it. Let's trademark this
depending
first.
on how much it stretches, it would change. Though, right?
Yeah. Could be the true measurement, so men can't lie anymore about their size. It's like a little ruler that extends with it. I'm curious for that. There's a market there. I have seen Star Wars themed ones that are glow in the dark. It's like a lightsaber.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The glow-in-the-dark ones are in the party pack. My whole, like, virginity story involves glow-in-the-dark condoms.
I've never experienced it. That sounds so fun.
The glow-in-the-dark condoms.
Yes.
I haven't used them since I was fucking 16 trying to lose my V-plates and forcing him to wear 2 dingers because I was so terrified of getting pregnant and didn't realise that was worse. And
but
we
extra
had-
glow.
Extra glow. We had like a party pack of like assorted different flavours and ribbed and glow-in-the-dark whatever, and like, yeah, double bagging it with a fucking thick glow-in-the-dark condom was just like a disaster. And yeah, the hotel room was like the motel room was filled with empty glow-in-the-dark condoms. And yeah, we weren't successful that occasion.
I've heard a lot of people talk about using 2 rubbers first.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
It's like, why the fuck did they not teach us in sex ed that would make it more likely to break?
Yeah.
Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die. Don't have sex in the missionary position. Don't have sex standing up. Just don't do it. Promise?
Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, like, my sex ed was abstinence. I did not have any, I didn't get the classic, putting it on a banana or demonstration or anything. I went to by the time I was at a year level, I think it was year 9, the specific school that I was going to was ultra conservative religious school.
Yeah, wow.
And it was purely abstinence. It was pure. Here's actually another good story.
Oh my God.
It's a short, sweet one, which is we did it for a few weeks. It was a sex ed. It was might have even been a term, and it was meant to be they didn't call it sex ed. I think it was puberty related or whatever. But I remember when we did talk about sex, it was abstinence focused. But and I feel it's always the case. It's such a cliche, but it was our gym teacher that taught the physical side of things. And I knew, we didn't know what the lesson specifically that we were going into, but how the classrooms and the teacher's office was set up is we would wait outside of the classroom and the teacher's office was 2 meters away. So the lunch bell had rang and we were coming back to class to have this sex ed adjacent class. And I will never forget, my friends and I were walking past the teacher's office and we just see the teacher, clearly mentally prepping for the conversation that he's going to have. And he's just sitting at his desk, head down, hands in his lap, just repeating the word vagina. Vagina, vagina, trying to get comfortable with the idea of saying that in front of a bunch of year 9 boys. And he caught us, catching him on it. And I just remember his face going as, red as a tomato.
Oh.
And it's, one of my favourite memories of, that awful sex ed period time in my life. Of just him just being vagina, under his breath. And
I've got this. I've got this. Oh, my God. I reckon that would be a... kind of common. I feel teachers, it just gets palmed off and onto teachers that are very ill-equipped. And I can't imagine a deeply religious school there'd be any really kind of sex positive adults. And I have a friend who's a physics teacher, massive nerd, super autistic, fucking such a ledge. So smart, so funny, but so awkward socially and very awkward when it comes to, sex, relating, intimacy, women, because he's heterosexual. And he got dished to teach sex ed at the school, and he was just look, he just went to whoever was in charge of making that decision and was this is a really bad idea. Don't do it to these kids. Yeah. I am the worst possible person to do this. And you can do better. I just, he's
think of the children.
You don't even know what you're doing right now. This dude is, So, and he's telling me about it, just I was literally if I had to do it, I was gonna have to call you up and get some help. But he got out of it, and it was just literally think of the children. Are you kidding me? I'm almost an incel, not in the negative connotation sense of that, but just involuntarily celibate.
I'm not the subject matter expert here.
Yeah.
Poor don't make the teachers do that. Bring in the professionals for that.
I know.
Even in this period of sex ed with this teacher, I have another memory of one of the lessons were anonymous questions on post-it notes, where we could just kind of put it in and the teacher would read them out. And one of the questions, and I remember afterwards learning that it was one of my friends that put it in, which was asking why do people shave their pubes? That was one of the questions. And the teacher actually not knowing the answer, he really stumbled over it, was I don't know, people it's a preference or whatever. And I remember, because I did have a great sexual education and exposure to lots of things, having to be I'll answer that one for you, teacher. It's a hygiene thing, it's a smell thing, and also it's also for the appearance. Some guys will do it because it will make the merchandise look bigger. And I don't remember how the teacher reacted. We probably moved on to the next question. But it was this moment, I remember leaving so disappointed that he couldn't answer it. and my friend shared afterwards that was like his post-it note. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad like I was able to answer it because like, yeah, that was meant to be our sex ed, and I'm sure there were probably more examples of like really like well-meaning questions that like kids would have been asked that teachers just like were not equipped to ask, to answer.
And remind me, all boys school?
No, always co-ed, but we did these kind of sex ed classes separate.
So you knew it was a guy that had written that?
Yes, it was only boys in the room at the time.
Yeah, fuck. It's pretty devo because it's such an opportunity that's just totally squandered, and more damage is done more often than not than, actual education. It is getting better though, some places.
I'm really curious, especially from like the queer perspective as well, because like even if I had the world's best sex ed, they weren't probably teaching me anything that I needed to know. And like it's an interesting idea to explore, right, of this idea of like, okay, we're going to provide kids sex education. There's a part of me that can somewhat understand like some clutching of pearls from either teachers, parents, students at the idea of like saying maybe we should also talk about like anal sex. Like I can understand why people would be like we're just introducing sex to the children. How could we possibly bring that into the conversation? But there's a part of me that's like, I do think back, I'm like, even if I had the world's best sex education, there's no way that they were going to talk about anything that would relate to me.
So true. Yeah, even just talking about queer stuff in general, let alone the act of butt sex, like. But
like that's the thing. It's like it doesn't need to be explored with a queer lens. Like straight people have anal sex.
I know, but imagine how fucking different it would be if they introduced the concept of like sex through the lens of like there's all these different orientations, any gender can have sex with any gender, sex can look different depending on what the configuration of genitals are. Like if that was part of it and there was a queer lens, it wouldn't be so confronting and abrupt to hear about anal sex because you'd have already like gotten and you know, if sex wasn't just taught as penis in vagina, like it would just be another one of the ways that, and it's like, I feel like if it was just being taught regularly from a young age, incrementally getting more in depth, like by the time you got to the point of talking about anal sex, like they're not a stranger to orifices.
Yes, like, we'll keep that for like a few years in. Absolutely. I actually, as you're saying it, like it makes sense to just like bring it to the body part. This is how you interact with it. This is what that can look like. This is how you do it healthy and in safe ways. To even like I can, because again, like I don't know if it's this like weird like internalized homophobia of just like my experience of like trying to navigate being like a good approachable homosexual, but I understand the idea of like you're not even eliminating the like same-sex nature of it, of just saying like here are the areas that get interacted with in intimate play, and like literally going like, you know, mouth, vagina, penis, anus, like just like, or even like breasts, nipples. Like imagine if it was just like we explored the body and how to healthily interact with that. I can even maybe I can see that being a little bit more accessible than like having to specifically be like, now for the queer sex education. I think I love the idea of getting to that, but I think in this time where we're probably still scared to interact with like the idea of anal and talking about that, just separating it to like, this is how you interact with that body part.
Which, I mean, one of the reasons that doesn't fucking happen is because there's no pleasure education in sex ed. So like, it's all about procreation. That's the reason people have sex. That's why it's about a penis and a vagina.
Yeah.
And like if you were to talk about anal sex, you'd have to introduce the concept of like sex for pleasure.
Yeah.
And like that's just not really something that is talked about in sex ed most of the time.
That's really true, because I'm like even thinking now of like if we were to treat like the other like body parts equally, like even talking about the mouth and oral, right? Like how that would even break down this idea of like oral sex being foreplay and not being real sex. Like just the benefits of just like bringing it to, there's a whole body to explore and to interact with. It's not this one act of P and V. I think like would have dramatically changed. Like probably that's the element that I can take away from my sex ed is like, well, it might not have been exactly how I was going to interact with it, how we talked about oral, and like it was always in regards to foreplay or like warming up or anything. Less so like what I got from the school, but like generally when we're starting to understand, you know, sex, just how that would have changed, like just the perception of like seeing like oral sex just as sex, you know, not seeing it as this like preliminary foreplay thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sex ed is so just driven by, well, it's all just surrounding procreation and the menstrual cycle and pathology, like STIs and stuff, hey?
Yeah, I don't even think I was like taught anything about, you know, like a vagina.
Probably boys weren't taught the menstrual cycle because they got separated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, again, which is bananas to me, especially when you have it in such like a heterosexual lens, right? Like if you're going to talk to us about having sex with a vagina, like how are you not going to talk about the other elements that you're going to be met with?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, definitely. We definitely weren't. I remember I would have said I would have learnt all of that from mum. Yeah.
Fuck, you're so lucky to have her.
I had an older sister as well.
Yeah.
Again, good another short story, which is the first time I saw period blood on like my sister's items of clothing. It is so good. I was really, really young. There's a 4-year age gap between my sister and I. And I imagine if I hit puberty young, she probably would have been at a similar age. So I remember being really, really young. And I went into our like bathroom after she's had a shower or whatever, and she just had like her pajamas on the floor. And I remember I saw it, and it was my first time seeing period blood, and it was so dark and like it was browner than it was like red. And I remember being like, she pooped her pants. And I remember just running to find her and being like, you pooped your pants, you pooped your pants, your poopy pants are in the bathroom. And my sister being like, what? No, I didn't. And like walking in and finding it and just her like laughing and being like, that's a period. And obviously like I had known that word somewhat in the ethos, but like, yeah, just this hilarious thing of being like, you pooped.
I love that she was so like, oh, it's just a period. Like, I feel like when I was a teenager, and if I had any boy, like brother, find period undies or whatever, I would have been so mortified.
Yeah.
Like there was so much shame around it, and we did not talk about it or acknowledge it in the home. Like that just wasn't. Yeah, it was so hush hush. Like it was very repressed. A lot of like I'm listening to all these stories. I'm like, wow, the things that are striking me is how free and open and unembarrassed, unashamed these teenagers are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, when I was a teenager, that was not what I was like. Like, I can't imagine being so comfortable and confident. Like, I had to work on it for years in my early 20s, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, like, really cool to hear about, like, teenagers not being so, like, ashamed and...
I put it down to, like, it's really fascinating because my mum she's German, like, lived there until, like, her mid-20s, like, very... in so many ways has like that strict conservative kind of mindset, like painting with broad strokes, but like we kind of now see Germany as this like sex positive, Berlin's like the sex party capital of the world, but like I've like got an old German mum, you know, like there's trauma there that's like post World War II, you know, child. So she had this like, she was this super strict wooden spoon, like classic, like kind of like crazy strict German mum, but then was so like just open around anything, bodies, sex. Like it was just nothing in our house. And so like my sister and I just grew up in that. And then we had that relationship where I had an older sister who was like comfortable talking to me about sex. Like I remember when she first started being sexually active and I knew that she had condoms in her room and I was like, oh my God, condoms, how crazy. And I remember going and stealing one because I just wanted to like open it up and look at it and play around with it. And I remember like discarding the actual condom, but I, for some reason, put the wrapper in like the bathroom bin. And so she probably was like putting like a tampon wrapper or something in there and saw it and clearly like put 2 and 2 together. And,
Yeah.
like came and talked to me and was like, you know, like obviously like, you know, you've taken a condom, and I denied. And it was like probably a few weeks before I was like, yeah, that was me. And like, even that just opened it up where she was like, you know, if you have questions, like come and talk to me.
God.
Yeah. Like I had the only person in my house that couldn't talk about sex was my dad. But so that was something interesting, being like a boy going through puberty. I had all of those conversations with my mum. You know, showed her my first boner. So the kind of scene was set from there. Like, again, I remember I told my mum after I had my first wet dream, because I knew it was coming as well. So I remember, like, that was like an update conversation I had with my mum. I was like, oh my God, Mum, guess what? I had a wet dream. Like, that was the level of, like, which we talked about this stuff.
That is so fucking incredible.
But I can't imagine
love it.
going and telling my dad that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, but at least you had it with one parent. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Fuck, things could be so different if all kids had that relationship with their folks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's so special.
That's like the part of like the European like culture of just like sex being a part of life that was the one real benefit of having that like side of my mum, where it was just, we didn't have that Aussie kind of awkwardness around it. It was just like, people have sex.
Yeah.
We have these bodies. Bodies are going to change. Look out for this.
Yeah.
When you're going to do this, do it this way.
Oh my God. That's sick.
Really cool.
That's dope.
Yeah. And like, even though I've still talked to my parents, but like, you know, see them less often. The relationships has changed as I've gotten older, but there's still elements of it that still exist to this day. Like, I don't talk about my sex life with my mum from like a day to day, you know, month to month. But I remember, like I told my mum the first time my partner and I had a threesome. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, I remember like we were drunk. It was like at like an engagement party or something. It's not something I typically would have been like, I'm going to share this element with my mum. But even that I clock as like, as an adult being like, that's such a crazy thing that like I would tell my mum that.
Yeah.
And yeah, even having conversations with her about like open relationships and like, you know, not from that being like a thing in the life, but just like mum maybe hearing something or, you know, talking about like sex as like a middle-aged woman, and maybe like, you know, as, you know, men get older and, you know, their bodies can interact with sex differently, and, you know, middle-aged women having needs. Like, these are conversations I have with my mum about her being like, you know, oh, maybe that's what I need, you know, being able to go out and get her needs met. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It rigs out a lot of people. Like, my partner comes over for family dinner and, like, the conversation turns that way. He does not know how to deal with
God,
it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would lose it. I'd be like a pig.
Get my mum on the potty.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I'm assuming coming out was a breeze then.
Not at all.
Really?
So complete opposite.
With your mum?
Yeah. So randomly, it was my dad was incredible. My mum was pretty awful.
Wow.
Yeah. Really, really negative experience with mum.
All right, I'm going to cut it there just in the interest of time and trying to keep these short, which I'm not great at, but apparently it looks more approachable to the listener, and so I should be doing shorter episodes. I can't quite seem to do that with my regular guest expert interviews, but I figured these ones, since they're bonus content and it's a little bit more informal and the sound quality is not as great, yeah, definitely important to keep them short. But if you'd prefer to just have like a big whopper long form episode, let me know. And if you're enjoying these, please leave a comment or DM me. I'd really love to know. I don't receive heaps of feedback very often. So sometimes it's like I'm putting stuff out into the void and I actually just have no idea if people are enjoying it. You know, this podcast is for you, the listener. So I want to know what you like, what you don't like, what works. And what you want more of. So I think Dan and I are going to make it a semi-regular thing where we get together and have a chinwag. And there's so much more to come. Like, tune into the next episode to hear, you know, the coming out story and all sorts of other ridiculous, outrageous chats. And yeah, this will probably become a semi-regular installment. So yeah, definitely speak now or forever hold your peace if you're not about it. I'll see you in the next one. And that's it, darling hearts. Thanks for stopping by the Labia Lounge. Your bum groove in the couch will be right where you left it, just waiting for you to sink back in for some more double L action next time. If you'd be a dear and subscribe, share this episode, or leave a review on iTunes, then you can pat yourself on the snatch because that's a downright act of sex-positive feminist activism, and you'd be supporting my vision to educate, empower, demystify, and destigmatize with this here podcast. I'm also always open to feedback, topic ideas that you'd love to hear covered, questions or guest suggestions, so feel free to get in touch via my website or over on Insta. You can also send me in TMI stories to be shared anonymously on the pod. My handle is FreyaGraf_the Labia Lounge. If my account hasn't been deleted for being too sex positive, which, is always a possibility with censorship. But just in case the chronic censorship finally does obliterate my social channels, I'd highly recommend going and joining my mailing list and snagging yourself some fun freebies for the trouble at www.freyagraf.com/freebies. Anyway, later, labial legends. See you next time.